And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We have a great show for you today, as always. We are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/Takes by Fans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And then if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Folks, it's that simple to listen, and we've got you covered every single way. Alrighty, today is a big old Thursday, so we have to guess and react to the playoff lines. No more regular season. We're talking playoffs now, so you would think lines would be a little bit smaller. I am going to have to disagree because I think we're going to have a lot of bigger lines here this week, folks, unfortunately. And I think we're going to have to swallow some points here, but we're going to feel very confident because, we've been doing our research for the entire 17 weeks. We didn't even stop for week 17 either, even though that some teams were tanking and not playing all their starters. We were still doing our due diligence in the film study and our cash and trash list, power rankings, looking over everything. So we're going to be very, very good here to pick and react to these lines, and then we'll have our official picks tomorrow once we kind of rest on the lines and sleep on them and double check and triple check and run the numbers one more time. So we've got that today on the show, but first we've got to do our daily stories, so here we go. And some great news here. We're going to start off with the Rams. They activated wide receiver Cooper Kupp from the reserve COVID-19 list. Absolutely fantastic. He had COVID. He missed last week, and it was kind of, up in the air whether he was going to be able to go, Sunday. Are they a Sunday game or Saturday? They are Saturday, actually. So ready to go for their Saturday game, and Cooper Kupp's all good to go. Negative test coming back. He's had multiple negative tests. That's why they're able to activate him. So, hey, he's good to go. Now I think you don't have to start Jared Goff. Now that you got your two wide receivers good, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, John Wolford should be good to go to be the backup and continue what he did last week, just kind of being the game manager that he is. So big news here for the Rams. Will it make a difference at the end of the day having to face the Seahawks? I don't think so, but we'll get there. We'll get there when we talk about the game. Alrighty, Bucs, they activated a linebacker, Shaq Barrett, from the COVID-19 list, kind of the same situation that he was in with Cooper Kupp. I believe he actually had it and was in a close contact, high risk. So, multiple negatives coming back. He's all good to go. And this is definitely going to help Tampa Bay. Their defense is, it's not one of the better defenses in the league. It may be, I may say this, it may be one of the worst defenses in the playoffs, honestly. Colts, decent defense. I'd probably put Colts and Bucs defense maybe at the same level. Bills defense is better. Rams defense is better. Seahawks defense is better. Washington's defense is better. The Ravens defense is better. The Titans defense is not better. The Bears defense, a little better, maybe a little bit better. Saints defense better, Browns defense better, and Steelers defense better. So yeah, it's the Bucs, one of the worst defenses in the playoffs, and they're getting a little bit of upgrade here, getting their linebacker back. So hopefully this is gonna help the Bucs. I mean, they have an easy opponent here: Washington, Taylor Heineke, Alex Smith. So Shaq Barrett's looking to eat. He is going to be looking to eat here in their first playoff game. Alrighty, and then here we go. Deshaun Watson has, quote, quietly broached with teammates, end quote, the possibility that he may request a trade from the Houston Texans. I mean, he has to get out, folks. This man is wasting his talents. He's the leading passer. I believe he passed Patrick Mahomes in Week 17 as the leading passer for the league in 2020. How crazy! And he's got no weapons. Well, he does have weapons. Let me take that back. He does have weapons. He had weapons all season. So yes, he had weapons, but I mean, it didn't translate to wins because in the grand scheme of things, they had no head coach. The defense wasn't that great, and they just couldn't win games. So this man's talents are definitely being wasted here. Bill O'Brien screwed their future for the next at least 2 seasons, at least 2 years. They're not going to be good, not going to be able to kind of compete for a ring. Oh, I mean, look at the talent in the AFC. Can this Texans team compete with the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills? No, they can't. They can't. So he definitely needs to get out of there, and he's requesting a trade. So like we did yesterday with Cam Newton, let's go through all the teams and see who can use Deshaun Watson as a quarterback, because he needs to get out of Houston. He's wasting his talent. So Atlanta, I mean, they've hinted that they may get rid of Matt Ryan. And could you imagine Deshaun Watson with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones? Holy cow. Give me Deshaun Watson to the Falcons. I love that right off the rip. Get rid of Matt Ryan. No disrespect to Matt Ryan, but, you know, you've had your time and you haven't been able to make it work. So let's have a little bit of a quarterback switch here in Atlanta. I'm loving Deshaun Watson to Atlanta. Bucks, obviously they got Tom Brady. Now, can he be the, you know, successor to Tom Brady? Possibly, but Tom Brady's probably going to play at least one more season, and Deshaun Watson probably wants out now. So we're going to rule Bucks off the table. Cowboys, I believe they're going to go back to Dak, so we're not going to count that. Giants, they got Daniel Jones. Jets, you know, they're either rocking with Sam Darnold or taking a draft pick, but Deshaun Watson, he's probably better than any other quarterback you're going to get in the draft. Trevor Lawrence is probably the only quarterback that I wouldn't take instead of Deshaun Watson, just because of, you know, Trevor Lawrence is younger and you can mold him a little bit more. So Jets, that's still a destination, but I don't think he would go there because it's a bad organization, so he might as well stay in Houston. So I don't see him going to the Jets. Patriots, him and Bill Belichick can definitely work. He's going to want some pieces, though, and we know the Patriots don't give their quarterbacks wide receivers. So, you know, an idea of the Patriots, him going there, it could work, but I think he's going to want to go somewhere a little bit more established. Pieces, Falcons have tons of pieces, so we're still keeping kind of Atlanta is probably the best destination for him so far. Vikings, I think they're going to stick with Kirk Cousins, at least for probably one more season, and then maybe go from there, but I think they're going to stick with Kirk Cousins. Lions, it's going to depend on Matt Stafford, whether he's out this year or next year. Steelers, it could be a destination for him, but once again, he may have to sit behind Ben Roethlisberger for a year, and I don't think he wants to do that. I don't think Big Ben's going to be retiring at the end of this year. Maybe if he wins a ring, he will. Maybe if he gets maybe in the deep playoffs, he probably won't, so it's still up in the air in his future, and Deshaun Watson's going to want to be out now, because in 2 seasons, the Texans can, you know, start, you know, elevating their play a little bit, probably, with, you know, getting more pieces to the draft and free agents and all that. So we're kind of looking for teams that need something in 2021, like now. So not going to count the Steelers. Browns have Baker Mayfield. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson. Bengals have Joe Burrow. Dolphins have Tua. Bills have Josh Allen. Seahawks have Russell Wilson. 49ers have Jimmy G. Cardinals have Kyler Murray. Rams have Jared Goff. Jags are going after Trevor Lawrence, so they probably won't get Deshaun Watson. Colts, that could definitely work for Deshaun Watson as well. Better defense than they have on the Texans. They're ready to win right now. They just need a quarterback. Phillip Rivers, he's dinking and dunking and, you know, not pushing the ball down the field, so we can definitely go to the Colts, because I think this is Phillip Rivers' last year in Indy. Signed a 1-year deal. Not going to get signed back, I don't think. So could go to the Colts. Titans have Ryan Tannehill. Texans, he's already on the Texans. Raiders, like I said, I think they switch over to Marcus Mariota. I think Derek Carr's time is done in L.A. or LV, and Marcus Mariota proved that he can be very valuable to this Raiders team. I mean, he almost won their game that he started. Just a little bit of, I believe, didn't he throw an interception late in the game? Not totally his fault, something around those lines. So, I mean, up until that point, they were winning. So, don't think they're going to go to don't think Deshaun Watson should go to the Raiders. Broncos, he could go to the Broncos. I don't think they're set on Drew Lock. He kind of, you know, got exposed this season. They've got no quarterback on the roster. How's their draft pick looking? They're 5-11, so they'll probably have, I think they're probably inside the top 10 for draft picks. So, yeah, he could go to the Broncos. They got Jerry Jeudy. Him with Jerry Jeudy, a lot of speed, a lot of finesse. That could work. Chargers, they got Justin Herbert. Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. Packers have Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Bears, Deshaun Watson to the Bears. Now, that is a little viable, and they've got the pieces to kind of have a dual threat kind of game with the Bears. You know, Allen Robinson, you know, shifty, speedy wide receiver. He's making Mitch Trubisky look like a Hall of Famer, so obviously he'll work with Deshaun Watson. And I'm forgetting the other one, Cordell Patterson, who they run in a lot of, you know, motions on the line, and a lot of, you know, sweeps and misdirections. Could you imagine a little bit of a play action and a little bit of read option with Deshaun Watson and Cordell Patterson, that could definitely work as well. So you probably won't think that the Bears would be a good potential for Deshaun Watson, but I would give the man a look. I think you can kind of transform this Bears offense if you bring in Deshaun Watson, and that's what Matt Nagy needs. All he needs is a competent quarterback, and Deshaun Watson is one of the most competent quarterbacks out there right now. So Bears, that's a possibility that I can definitely get behind. Saints, I think they go with Taysom Hill after Drew Brees is done after this season. Panthers, they got Teddy B. Washington, he could work in Washington, but like, some of these other teams that we've been talking about, they're not established. They've got no real great weapons. He wants to go somewhere not like Texans, not like Houston Texans. He wants to go somewhere with some talent, so I don't think he goes to Washington, and the Eagles are rocking with Jalen Hurts. So we've got the Bears, I think would be a great fit for him. Who else did we say? Bears, Colts. There was another good one. What was the real good one? Atlanta, Colts, and the Bears, I think, are the best fits for Deshaun Watson if he wants to get out of there, if he wants to request a trade. Now, who are they going to trade? I mean, Atlanta can just trade quarterback straight up, Deshaun Watson for Matt Ryan, and I think both teams would be happy. Getting, an established quarterback who's kind of done things in their career. Yeah, Deshaun Watson hasn't really gotten far into the playoffs, but last year he made it past the first round. Not bad. And Matt Ryan's got to the Super Bowl. So I really think you can just kind of trade quarterback for quarterback straight up. They'll both take on their contracts because they think they're getting, a better quarterback than they already have. So Falcons, Texans, get the deal done, folks. Get Deshaun Watson out of that poverty-stricken franchise that you've got there in Houston. Oh, boy. All right. Next story. Here we go. Colts linebacker Darius Leonard, quote, when you're the 7th seed, everybody expects you to fail. Yes, that is true, but this situation doesn't pertain to the Colts. We expect you to fail because Phillip Rivers. Nobody's expecting you to fail because you're the 7th seed. It's the quarterback that really the people have an issue with. I have an issue with. I mean, the man is just not clutch. He's not good. He's not good in the second half. I mean, folks, what more do we need to see from Phillip Rivers? He wasn't good week 16 in the second half, almost blew the game. He wasn't good week 17 in the second half, almost blew the game. So clutch time down the stretch when you have to really win those last 2 games to secure a playoff spot, they didn't. They won 1-1. Is that supposed to impress me going into the playoffs? Come on. It's Phillip Rivers. He's finally showing his true colors. We don't care that you're the number 7 seed. The only reason you have to care that you're the number 7 seed is that you have to face the Bills. So that's not great because they're the best team in the league. So yes, Darius Leonard, we expect you to fail, but not because of the reason you're giving here. We expect you to fail because Phillip Rivers will not take care of the ball on they are the Saturday game. He won't take care of the ball on Saturday. So that's it. We think your defense is decent. Darius Leonard's definitely, top 10 linebacker in the league. I would say that the man's got some skill. I believe in Darius Leonard over Phillip Rivers. I believe in every other 52 out of the 53 players that's not Phillip Rivers more than Phillip Rivers. So, Colts, they're not winning. They're not winning this week, folks. It's unfortunate, but it's Phillip Rivers. He's just not good. And when you compare him to Josh Allen, it's not even like one played for 17 seasons and one's only played for 3 seasons. Like, you won't even see that on Saturday. Alrighty, and then another people are just talking nonsense. People are talking nonsense this week, folks. Mitch Trubisky wants the Bears offense to, quote, open it up a little bit versus the Saints. Mitch Trubisky, you can't handle the dink and dunk. Now you want to, demand opening up the offense? You're throwing red zone interceptions. And once again, like Phillip Rivers, we're talking week 16 and week 17. We don't have to go back to week 5 to find the last time that Phillip Rivers threw a lazy interception. Or, week 4. We don't have to go back to week 4 to find the last time Mitch Trubisky threw a red zone interception. We only have to go back to week 16. Really, week 17, if the Packers really caught it. We went over the play yesterday in our film study show, but literally dropped it right through his hands. That's a pick. That should have been a pick for Mitch Trubisky in the red zone. So we're not buying Mitch Trubisky. We haven't been buying Mitch Trubisky. We told y'all to take the Packers minus 17. They won by 19 last week. So what are we doing here? The Bears can't score any points. They've got the Saints this week in New Orleans, so good luck. Good luck, Mitch Trubisky. Yes, open it up against, one of the better defenses in the league against the Saints on the road, because Mitch Trubisky's so good on the road, right? That's where he performs very well. So, yes, Mitch Trubisky, please open it up. Matt Nagy, please open up the offense for Mitch Trubisky so you can finally be like, hey, we did everything we could. We did exactly what he wanted us to, and he's still not performing well. Now we can get rid of him. We can finally get rid of Mitch Trubisky. There's no strings attached. We don't have to feel bad. He wanted to open it up. We opened it up. He didn't perform well. All right, now go, leave. try to pull this stunt somewhere else. Try to convince another team to open it up and take a chance on you. So I don't know. People talking crazy here this week, folks. Mitch Trubisky wants to open up the offense. Good luck with that, my guy. You better hope you're paying Allen Robinson. If you're gonna say open up the offense, he's probably like, Allen Robinson, I need you to step up. Here's $1.25 million. Please, you're my savior here. Oh boy. All right, our last story. What do we got here? I just want to take a look at this graphic real quick. Most receiving yards by wide receiver duos through week 16. So this doesn't count week 17 of what happened there. But just look at, who's number 3 here. Number 1 is Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley with 2,400 yards. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are number 2 with 2,200 yards. And DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are 3rd with 2,100 yards. So we're a little vindicated here. What we've been saying all season, that this Panthers team is going to be good next year. Teddy Bridgewater, he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey. Mike Davis was solid, but he wasn't really anything great, averaging, I think he only averaged about maybe 40 or 50 yards a game, so nothing great, but he was still decently productive on the ground. But if you get Christian McCaffrey back in that running game, the Panthers, watch out for them. I think, how many wins do the Panthers have this season? They got 4, 5, or 6. It's one of those 3. Let me take a quick look at this. Panthers, 5 wins. So, if you're having, top wide receivers and you only have 5 wins, imagine when you get Christian McCaffrey back. That's at minimum 2 extra wins, at least. So, the Panthers are going to be good next year. He's making DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson look like number 1 wide receivers. Look at the company that they're mixed up with. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. And then we have to also include DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. So these are good wide receivers that Teddy Bridgewater and Matt Rule offensively are elevating to the highest level. You just get Christian McCaffrey back, you're already getting way more wins. And if Teddy Bridgewater can be a little bit more clutch, because that was the problem with him this season, add another 2 wins. So now you add 4 wins minimum on top of the 5 wins they already have. Now you're talking about a 9-win team, and you can compete for the playoffs. 9 wins probably would have gotten them into the playoffs. The Bears are what? Are they 9-7 or 8-8? They're 8-8. So, the Panthers really could have made the playoffs this season. Unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey was injured. So, I'm telling y'all, watch out for this Panthers team next season. They're going to be fantastic. They will make the playoffs. I will put that up here right now. That is a Takes by Fans lock. The Panthers will make the playoffs in 2021. Mark it down. Bet it if you can bet it. I don't think you can, but if you can, bet it right now. The odds are probably fantastic. Fantastic. So, Panthers will be good next season, folks. Mark it down. All right, let's quickly go over the NBA. A ton of games yesterday, so we'll quickly go through these, give you our moneymaker for the NBA, and then we'll do our main topic of guessing and reacting to the playoff first games, lines, Saturday and Sunday. Here we go. Basketball, NBA. Rockets losing again. Is that a surprise to anybody? Not really. So Pacers get the win. They're 6-2. Malcolm Brogdon, Sabonis being absolutely clutch in this game down the stretch, and the Rockets floundering down the stretch. Classic. Harden only put up 15 points. John Wall's trying his best here, trying to make the best out of this situation. 28 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 60% as well, so John Wall had himself a good game, but just kind of like when Russell Westbrook was there, John Wall and James Harden really aren't having any great games together. Russell Westbrook, James Harden really aren't having any great games together. It's either one or the other, and really when that happens, they lose the game. And can we talk about DeMarcus Cousins? A great name, a big name that gets your team hyped, that gets all the fans hyped when he comes on your squad, and then it doesn't translate to win, so it's super frustrating there. And once again, Rockets are losing. What are they, 2-4? Nothing great. Will James Harden be here by the trade deadline? Most likely not. If they're losing games, they'll probably just cut ties with them. So unfortunate here for the Rockets. Now let's talk about the Pacers because, like in the bubble, they didn't have Sabonis and they floundered. Now they have Sabonis and they're flourishing. I mean, Sabonis is the real deal here. 22 points, 12 rebounds. Could you imagine that? 4 assists, and he shot 64%, and he was clutch down the stretch. He either had, the putback that took the lead or extended the lead to like 2 or 3 points. So huge game for him. And then, Malcolm Brogdon also clutched down the stretch, 25 points. He shot 66% from 3, 4 of 6 from 3 with 7 assists. So they've got everybody that they need. Everybody's contributing. I mean, look at this. Michael Brogdon, 35 points. Victor Oladipo. Yes, they still have Victor Oladipo. I mean, how crazy is that? We're talking about Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon, and then we're talking about Victor Oladipo. So they're deep. They've got playmakers. They've got shooters. They got clutchness. This Pacers team, watch out for them early. This is a team that will translate for the entire season. I'm kind of saying, let's get 10 games under our belt to really see who the real teams are. But we don't need 10 games from this Pacers team. What are they, 6-2 right now? Only 8 games that we need to see that this Pacers team will be good. They'll be, in a tough out in the playoffs if you have to face them. So Pacers beat the Rockets last night, 114-107, and they advanced to 6-2 on the season. Alrighty, Magic, they are seeming to be big contenders as well, except Markelle Fultz tore his ACL in the first quarter. Now, they still ended up winning this game 105-94 against the Cavs, who have really started out hot. I think they were either 4-1 or 4-0, and they've really dropped the last, couple of games there. But back to the Magic, how are they going to work without Markelle Fultz? I mean, he was, a very solid contributor here for their offense, starter, I believe. Was he? Yeah, he is a starter. So, definitely going to be a big shot with him being out. They're decently deep. I mean, you got Terrence Ross and James Ennis III on the bench. Those are pretty solid scorers. So, Markelle Fultz, hopefully it doesn't derail this Magic team. I mean, they kind of got derailed in the bubble last year because, an injury. I'm forgetting who. I believe Aaron Gordon was injured and really couldn't play every single game, and that's kind of why they floundered a little bit in the bubble. So hopefully it doesn't happen. Folks, they're probably one of the best 10 teams so far to start the season. This Magic team, they're 6-2 and getting it done. So we have to keep. Markelle Fultz is done for the season, folks. He's out, but we'll have to see how this Magic team tries to keep themselves on track. Next man up mentality, trying to fill that starting point guard role. We'll see how it all comes together. Alrighty, Wizards, 76ers, and the Wizards lose again. They did put up a lot of points, but they lose. So at the end of the day, does it really matter? No. But this 76ers team, I mean, Doc Rivers has them playing fantastic. When was the last time the Sixers were 7-1? I don't know. I don't think they were ever 7-1 with, the squad that they have with Joel Embiid, with Ben Simmons. I don't think they were ever 7-1. So very well done to Doc Rivers. In the addition of Seth Curry on this team, putting up 28 huge points and 5 rebounds, he shot 85% from 3, 6 of 7. He only missed 1, folks. And then he went to shoot 78% from the field, 11 of 14. So this team's got some real shooters. Look at that. Joel Embiid also had 38 points and shot 3 of 4 from 3 and had 8 rebounds and had 5 assists and had 3 steals. And had 3 blocks. This man was absolutely balling out against the Wizards, and a huge reason why they won, really. Clutch down the stretch. Seth Curry and Joel Embiid hitting clutch threes at the end of the game, so very well done. Danny Green, 15 points, and he shot 5 of 8 from 3. That's what we want to see. If Danny Green can be consistent, he'll be one of the top 3-point shooters in the league, but he has to be a little bit more consistent, and we are kind of seeing it a little bit here early on in the season. So definitely you have to take notice of the 76ers team, folks. They're kind of deep. They've got some nice, look at their 2 bench players, folks. Shake Milton with 19 points. They still have Dwight Howard, who doesn't need to make a huge contribution. You saw what the Lakers kind of did with Dwight Howard last season. They really only used him for 1 playoff series when they really needed him. So they still got, a champion on their team, on their bench. So, definitely watch out for the 76ers, folks. Now let's quickly talk about the Washington Wizards. What is Russell Westbrook still looking like? 20 points, 6 turnovers. Classic, right? Who else had 6 turnovers in the game? Nobody. The second highest was 5, and that was Joel Embiid. So we just told you a stat line: 38 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. I think we can forgive 5 turnovers from that man. He was doing it in every facet of the game. So now let's talk about Russell Westbrook. What his stats did was 6 turnovers. He had 20 points. He did have 12 assists. I will give him that. 8 rebounds. Shot 50% from 3. Shot 44% from the field. 1 block. 3 steals, but also 6 turnovers again. So you're giving the ball, away a lot more, and you're really not, being fantastic. I mean, 20 points, that's average. I will give him the assist. The 12 assists is very good. The three steals is good as well, but going on that fast pace, it's not translating to wins, and that's why we don't want to knock Russell Westbrook. We love the heart, we love the spirit, we love the athleticism, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not translating to wins, so you got to switch it up at some point, and he's still not doing it here, which we didn't expect him to do here either. Alrighty, let's move on. What do we got? Hawks, oh my goodness, they are falling down fast, kind of like the Cavs. They started off hot, but now they are floundering. Once again, kind of why we say let's give it 10 games. That's kind of where we're going to put our baseline of who's actually good, who's actually not good. We got to wait till kind of 10 games in. So we're getting there. We're at 8, 9. So, next week we'll definitely see a clear picture of this league. But so far, Hawks are floundering. Hornets were never good. They're only 3-5. So 102-94 win for the Hornets. All right, Celtics and Heat, and this one came down to the wire. Very kind of close game. In the second half and then from the second quarter on, because the Celtics got out to a big lead. Heat stuck with it, but at the end of the day, the Celtics were a little bit more clutch. Goran Dragic hits the game-tying 3 for the Heat, but then they get a nice little tip-in from who was it? Somebody you have never heard of. Let me see if I can find the name real quick. Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard with the game-winning bucket for the Celtics. Little bit of a miss from Marcus Smart. He gets the put-back layup, and they win by 2 points. So, well done to the Celtics team. They're finding ways to win, which I didn't think they were. I thought they would kind of definitely take a step back from last season in the bubble to this season, but they're still winning games, so we got to give it to them. Jason Tatum, 27 points. Jaylen Brown, 21 points. You can always rely on them. Daniel Tice, look at this, third leading scorer on the squad with 13 points in 28 minutes, and he also had 5 rebounds. So I'm not a fan of Daniel Tice, but 13 points, third leading scorer. I can get behind that. All right, now let's go to the Heat now. Jimmy Butler, huge 26 points, and then you get 11 from Olynyk, 15 from Adebayo, 16 for Duncan Robinson, and 8 for Tyler Hero. So all the starters were really getting it done, and then you got Precious Achiuwa. Nope. Goran Dragic off the bench with 14 points. So some solid contribution up there for the Heat. Ended up losing by 2 on a last-second shot. So definitely unfortunate for them. Now, are the Heat as good as they were last year in the bubble? I don't think so. I think they definitely taken at least a half step back, if not a full step, which is truly unfortunate. They rely heavy on their three-point shooting. What do they shoot as a team here? 36%. So definitely a little bit low for them. They're usually kind of in the 40s for them to win. So truly unfortunate for the Heat. They got great shooters everywhere, but they rely heavily on you making those shots. So they don't hit them here that much, and they lose by 2. Alrighty, then Jazz and Knicks in the Knicks with another win here. They're 5-3, very good, young roster there. And as we said a couple days ago, Tom Thibodeau, is doing very good here as the head coach for the Knicks, getting everybody to do very well. Julius Randle just put up 30 points. Then we got Elfrid Payton with 22 points, and Austin Rivers with 23 points. Huge. I believe. Don't quote me on this. I think he hit the game winner. Did this man hit the game winner? Either way, Austin Rivers is playing very good. Love to see that. Love to see Austin Rivers having success, and really love to see Seth Curry having success as well of where they are. So very well done to this Knicks team, getting wins. They've got a better record than the Nets do. So hey, watch out for the Knicks and not the Nets, right? So Knicks get the win, 112-100 over the Jazz. All right, Pistons and Bucks, and Pistons are 1-7. Classic Pistons not being good. Let's quickly take a look at them. How is Blake Griffin and D Rose doing? Blake Griffin 9 points and 1 rebound in 26 minutes. 9 points, 1 rebound, 26 minutes. Come on, Blake. Come on. You're better than that. Derrick Rose, 10 points. One rebound, 1 assist. He's coming off the bench. He shot 42%. He only played 11 minutes, so that's pretty good. 10 points in 11 minutes. I'll give him that. But, yeah, this Pistons team is not good, folks. This is probably one of the worst teams. I think they are the worst team. I think they're the only one-win team in the league right now, so not great on them. Definitely got to step it up, Blake Griffin. That's kind of atrocious to only have, what do we say, 1 rebound? Holy cow. All right, Giannis, 25 points. Chris Middleton, 23 points. Very well done by them. We'll quickly look at Giannis's free throw attempts, and he's still only shooting 57%. Get it together, my guy. LeBron James was awful at shooting free throws, and he still kind of is, but at least he's shooting, 79, 70, 82%. Come on, Giannis. Got to definitely get that up. Luckily for Giannis, he's good enough to put up, he can go up and put up like 30 points while shooting like, 20% from the free throw line. But definitely got to step it up, especially in the playoffs. We've already seen him cost his team like 2 wins this season because he wasn't hitting his free throws. So got to get it together, my guy. You didn't get $270 million, the super max, for no reason. Hit the free throws. Alrighty, Pelicans Thunder. Pelicans lose by 1 point. Oof, tough loss there. Let's quickly check into this Pelicans team, how their shooters are doing. How is Zion doing? We haven't been hearing a lot of him in the media. A little interesting, but he went off 29 points, 6 rebounds. Holy moly. He shot 70% as well. Fantastic. He took no threes. Once again, a little fantastic as well. We don't need Zion shooting threes just quite yet. If he develops a shot, then definitely. And he's proven he can hit them, but not at a consistent pace. But we'll keep an eye on that. So well done there. Unfortunately, they just lose by 1. Brandon Ingram is still balling, 24 points. Love to see that. Lonzo with 15 points. Shooting 22% from 3 is not good, 2 of 9. So definitely got to get that up a little bit. But I can get behind, 15 points for that, man. Yeah, just not huge contribution from the bench. Leading bench scorer is Nickeil Alexander-Walker with 13, and then the second highest bench score was Jackson Hayes with 4 points. So, I mean, not good contribution from the bench, but the starters, they are kind of making it work together, so we will give them that. All right, let's move on. What else we got? Suns, love it, love it, love it. Suns are one of the real deal teams. They've got 8 wins. I think we can kind of do a little bit premature of our 10 games and say the Suns are real good and the Raptors are real not. I mean, the Raptors are getting exposed of what they are. They're a bunch of role players that had a magical run with Kawhi Leonard last season. They tried to keep that magic, and it started to really fizzle very, very quickly in the playoffs, and now it's totally out. The flames out. Nick Nurse, he's still a good head coach, but he's got to get a superstar. You need a superstar in the league. I mean, it's not, lame to go out and get a superstar. It's not like, oh, you have to, pay the best players to be good. No, you need at least one superstar on your team if you want to win a couple of games, and you really need 2 if you want a chance to win a ring, and you really need 3 if you want to guarantee yourself a ring, and the Raptors have no superstars. So with that being said, they get kind of crushed here by the Suns, and love to see the Suns having success here. Raptors, your time is up, unfortunately. Go get a superstar. Plus, they're not even playing in Toronto, so, making, a harder situation even more harder. All right, here we go. Clippers, Warriors. Warriors made it a little bit of a close game there, but, fizzled out at the end of the game. Steph Curry, I believe, did not have a great game, but they did keep the game close. Let's quickly go here. Kawhi Leonard with 21 points. Paul George with 21 points, getting it done. And then look at this. Marcus Morris off the bench with 12 points. That's pretty good. And Luke Kennard with 9 points off the bench. So we can get behind that. Lou Williams with only 3 points off the bench. Not great. But he's been having great games all season. So we can allow him a little bit of a pass. All right, now let's go to the Warriors very quickly. Steph Curry only 13 points, and he shot 16%. So he came down. He had a great game with the 62 points, and then I think he came back with like a 30-point, and now he's here with 13. So he had a little bit of a bad game, but overall they're still good. This is still a good Golden State team. They've got champions. They've got a championship-winning coach. I mean, they'll be fine, folks. Yes, they probably won't be in the top 3 seeds in the West, but they'll be 6, 5, 6, maybe even fighting for the 4. Give this team a little bit of time. They just got Draymond Green back, and I don't even want to hear it, folks. He is a piece of this dynasty. I don't want to hear it. He's a huge role of why they won early without Kevin Durant. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. That was the OG big three in Golden State. So he didn't have himself a great game. Neither did Steph Curry. They took a little bit of a step back for this game, but it was still a little bit competitive. So give it up to Andrew Wiggins beating the leading scorer here with 19 points. Eric Paschall off the bench with 19 points as well. So very well done. And then James Wiseman putting up 10 points as well. Definitely got to get up on the rebounds a little bit. But, you know, he's a rookie. Give the man a little bit of time to develop a little bit, and this Warriors team is going to be fine, folks. They're 4-4 right now, average, 500. All right, and then the last game, Kings, Bulls, couple of average teams here. Nothing too big on these. I mean, these teams don't have any real superstars. Who's the Bulls' best superstar? Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, 32 points. Holy cow, he had 32 points? Holy cow. Cody White with 36 points. Oh, my goodness. And then everybody else really not that great, but dang. All right, Bulls, getting it done. They ended up losing, right? Yeah, they ended up losing, but hell of a performance by Zach LaVine and Cody White. Wow. All right. Now the Kings, who's their best player? De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes. Nothing great, nothing that you're going to win a championship with, but pretty solid contribution from the starters besides De'Aaron Fox. He had himself not a great game. He only played 5 minutes, so unfortunate there. But Buddy Hield with 10 points, Raquan Holmes with 24 points, Marvin Bagley with 21 points, and Harrison Barnes with 20 points. So that's pretty solid from their starters. Not bad. Not bad. 4-5 team. Not bad there. So yeah, that's all the NBA from last night. Kings beating the Bulls 128 to 124. All right, let's quickly go to the NBA of what they got tonight. Couple of games on tonight. We'll see how they're looking. Anything that we like for our moneymaker, we'll quickly go through these, and then we'll start guessing these lines for the playoffs. Here we go. Nets in 76ers, and then Nets are plus 1.5 here. Now, Kyrie Irving absolutely killed it 2 nights ago when he was only playing and Kevin Durant wasn't, and they ended up winning by 30 points. As we said, the 76ers, very good, 7-1, perfect, everybody scoring. Doc Rivers has this team coached very well. So now, how is this going to play out? I think we stay away from it. The Nets are very good, and the 76ers are very good. The fact that the Nets are plus 1.5 is a little peculiar to me. Interested to see if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving both play. So we'll stay away from this line at 1.5. No real good value there. I can't wait to watch this game. This is going to be a great game to watch. These are two great teams. We already know. We don't need to wait till 10 games to see these teams. The rosters are loaded. They've got winners. They've got hitters. They've got shooters. They're ready to rock. So this will be a great game. Not going to take it, though, for our moneymaker. All right, Cavs, Grizzlies. Grizzlies -5, Cavs +5. Cavs on the road, not great. Memphis Grizzlies are nothing great in themselves, so I'm going to stay away from this game as well. Spurs, Lakers. Lakers are at home for this meeting. Last time, very close game. LeBron and Anthony Davis ended up pulling it out in the fourth quarter, but now the Lakers are at home. How well are the Spurs going to be able to kind of duplicate what they did in their first meeting, 2-3 nights ago? So Lakers -6 is not bad. Let's see these last 2 games, and then we'll come back to this Lakers team, because if we can't find anything else, I think the Lakers -6 is a decent play there. Mavericks, Nuggets -3. Mavericks, they're not really winning games. Neither are the Nuggets. So, 2 teams that were real good in the bubble, little floundering here early in the season. So, really not sure what to make of these 2 teams. These are 2 teams I definitely want to see at least 10 games of, and then we'll start figuring out. And I know they're already at 8, 9 games, but we really want to see these last couple games here. The 9th and 10th game, just to double check and make sure. All right, now we're starting to see who this Mavericks team is, who this Nuggets team is. Can we rely on the people that were doing great in the bubble? Are they transferring over? So I think we're going to give it a couple more games for both of these teams. Stay away from this one. And then the last one, Timberwolves and the Blazers. And the Blazers are -9.5, and I love this. Minnesota +9.5. We'll take it. This Blazers team isn't very consistent. Neither are the Timberwolves, but, Karl Anthony Towns is having a game every now and then. I believe these 2 teams faced the other day. Let's quickly go back. What happened? What happened when they faced either yesterday, or no, definitely not yesterday, but maybe 2 days ago. Timberwolves faced the Nuggets, made it a little close, so maybe that was the game I was thinking. Quickly go check Monday if nothing's on Monday. So yeah, I mean the Maverick or who are we? The Timberwolves. The Timberwolves coming off of a close loss here against the Nuggets. They lost by 9 points, 7 points. So I think they can definitely keep it up with the Blazers. This Blazers team is nothing great. They do have some names, but at the end of the day, they don't put up a lot of points for the talent that they have. So we'll take Timberwolves plus 9.5, and then I think we're going to take Lakers -6 as well. So this is going to be our play, our moneymaker for today for the NBA. Timberwolves plus 9.5 and Lakers -6. Alrighty, now that we've got all that out of the way, let's switch over to our main topic, which is guessing and reacting to these playoff game 1 lines. We've got, what do we got, 6 games through 2 days? Oof, some great matchups here, and I think we're really going to nail these lines. And are we going to get some real great value? That's something that we're going to have to look at the real lines. But yeah, let's start here. Let's just jump right into this. So here we go. Guessing the playoff lines. First game up is the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Colts and Bills. Colts the 7th seed, Bills the 2 seed. Bills are at home for this game. So Bills at home looking absolutely dominant. Their offense can do whatever they want against any defense. Top defense in the league, second best defense in the league, third best defense in the league, 32nd best defense in the league. It doesn't matter. The Bills are going to have success, and they will at least put up 35 points. At least that's what they'll score in this game. So Bills offense is doing fantastic. The Bills defense is doing, as good as you would want them to do for how well the offense is performing. So love the Bills here big. Now let's start talking about this Colts team. Y'all know how I feel about Phillip Rivers. I cannot trust the man, and we've been seeing it the last 2 weeks. So now are we supposed to buy him because he's made it into the playoffs? He needed to really win the last 2 games to really secure a spot. He's lucky the Dolphins lost, or Phillip Rivers would be on vacation with his 17 kids. So the Colts, they're not going to put up any points. They are struggling to score in the second half. We've seen this for the last 2 weeks. It's not like we have to go back to week 5 or the week 4 meeting when they lost to the Browns. No, folks, we're talking about week 16, week 17. We don't have to go back to watch Phillip Rivers and this Colts team not be good in the second half. We're seeing it the last 2 weeks. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs is unstoppable. Josh Diggs and Cole Beasley is unstoppable. Josh Allen to Isaiah McKenzie, which we didn't know was unstoppable until last week, but that's unstoppable. And then they just bring in Kenny Stills for the hell of it. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. Bring in Kenny Stills. Let's get us, a 5th deep wide receiver just for the hell of it, just because, just as a safety blanket. And Kenny Stills, he's got some speed. He was working with Deshaun Watson. And Josh Allen, is he as good as Deshaun Watson? I would have to say yes. Right now, this moment, Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen, I think, are comparable. So Bills are getting all the wide receivers that they don't even need. The running game, it could be good, it could be bad. It doesn't matter because Josh Allen, he'll be like, all right, I'll pick up all the slack. Y'all need me to throw, 15 yards down the field instead of, the 10 to try to make up for the running game. Okay, I'll do that. I'll throw 20. I'll throw 25 yards down the field. I'll throw 50-yard bombs all throughout the game. It does not matter. Now, I do like the Colts pieces. I love Jonathan Taylor, and I love their running game, and I love Nyheim Hines. This Colts running game is very good. They'll have to rely on that heavily, and we just Frank Reich kind of hinted at the game plan, I think, for this week, last week, running the ball 30 times and only having Phillip Rivers throw it 27 times. So Frank Reich is seeing, okay, we can't really rely on Phillip Rivers, so they may go very run heavy, especially on the road against Buffalo. It's going to be cold here. So, in the elements with Phillip Rivers, the Colts will probably run the ball a lot more, and they'll probably try and make the game end as quickly as possible because they know that if they can run the ball and secure the line of scrimmage and just kind of keep running the ball, if they can rush for another 250 yards with Jonathan Taylor, the Colts possibly could win the game. Possibly. That's if everything goes right and they rush for 250 yards. So Not buying Phillip Rivers. Not buying Phillip Rivers on the road. Not buying Phillip Rivers in a playoff game. Not buying Phillip Rivers when he has to be, out in the elements and he has to, go up against Josh Allen. I'm not buying any of that. I think Phillip Rivers, this is his last game as a starter, as a NFL quarterback. He's done. He's exposed. He's never won the big game. He's never once won the big game. So he's not going to do it here against Buffalo on the road when they're overall a worse team. It's just not going to happen. So we're going to call this one big, folks. We're calling this one big. Bills minus 9.5, folks. Minus 9.5. Yes, I know these are two playoff teams. I do kind of want to bring this up because I was thinking to myself, I think I'm going to go a little bit big on these lines today. So what happened kind of last season in the playoffs? Were there kind of a lot of blowouts, or was it kind of close? Because that could give us some insight of, when we make our picks and when we look at the lines of what's actually good value and what's not. So let's go back to last year's playoffs. In the first round, we had Seattle and Philly. 17-9 game, wasn't a blowout. Minnesota, New Orleans, 26-20, so not a blowout there. Tennessee, New England, 20-13, not a blowout there. And then we had Buffalo and Houston, 19-22, so not a blowout there. Not a blowout there. But when we get to the second round of the playoffs, Seattle, Green Bay, 23-26, not really a blowout. Minnesota, San Francisco, 10-27, now 17 points. I do call that a blowout. Tennessee, Baltimore, 28-12. Once again, kind of 16 points. That is a blowout. Anything really more than 2 possessions is a blowout, in my opinion. And then we have Houston and Kansas City, 51-31. 20-point blowout win there for Kansas City. So, yes, there are blowouts in the playoffs. So, even in the second round of the playoffs, when you're like, all right, now all teams are actually real good, there are still blowouts. So, still keep that in mind. All right. Let's go back. Where were we? Right here? Right here. All right. So, yeah, Bills minus 9.5. Love them. Love them. Love them big. I'll still swallow. I'm telling you, I don't care what the Bills are. I'll swallow the points. So, if it's more than 9.5, I'll still swallow it. I will swallow it all the way up to 23.5 points. I don't care. The Colts are not going to do anything. Not trusting Phillip Rivers. Alrighty, now we got Rams and Seahawks. All right, Rams and Seahawks, they faced full strength. Everybody was healthy. Cooper Kupp was playing. Jared Goff was playing. Everything was good. And this was week 16? Week 15? Week 16? Week 16. So, and the Rams put up 9 points. And the Seahawks finally got going in the fourth quarter, and I think they won 20-9. So now Jared Goff or John Wolford up in the air. Cooper Kupp is definitely back, so that's good. But still, it's on the road in Seattle like it was in Week 16, and we can't trust the Rams offense. I've been a big proponent of that. We can never trust this Rams offense. It's super hit and miss. It's super hot and cold. Even against when they face the bad teams, they don't, elevate their play. They really play down to their opponents, and that's never good. You definitely don't want to do that. So Seattle at home, Russell Wilson. In this offense, we can't trust their offense really either that much. I mean, they've really kind of been letting us down the last 5 weeks. They're not doing good. The offense is lacking. I mean, the first 5 weeks, the first maybe 7-8 weeks of the season, we were talking about DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson every single week. We were doing random touchdown drives in our Wednesday film study of the Seahawks because they were scoring literally on every drive, so it didn't matter what drive we picked to watch. It was going to be great, and it was going to show us something. But now these last couple weeks, they haven't been doing that. Now, the defense has been stepping up a little bit. Jamal Adams is kind of a game time decision here. Not great for that. But, all right, so let's break it down like this. If John Wolford plays, how do we like this game turning out? Well, John Wolford, how did he play last week? Settling for field goals, not really getting it done. He turned the ball over once, but it was early in the game, so I don't think that's going to be kind of a trend that continues on for John Wolford. Does he add an extra spice to this Rams offense? I didn't really see anything that they didn't do with Jared Goff, so, they're still kind of calling the same game as, if Jared Goff was playing, if John Wolford was playing. So, and then if Jared Goff plays, we just saw the game. We just saw the game 2 weeks ago. So do we need to see it again? Unfortunately, it has to be played again. Fortunately, we should say for the Rams, it has to be played again. So we do like the Seahawks here. I'll trust Russell Wilson over Jared Goff or John Wolford any day of the week. I'll trust DK Metcalf over, Cooper Kupp, and I'll trust Tyler Lockett over Robert Woods. So I really like every part of the Seahawks offense more than the Rams offense. We've seen the Seahawks offense struggle, but then figure it out in the fourth quarter. But we've seen the Rams offense struggle and then not make it up in the fourth quarter. So we trust the Seahawks offense. We trust the Seahawks at home. We trust Russell Wilson more than anybody else on the Rams. We do like the Rams defense, but the Seahawks have figured it out. They have taken the entire game and they figured it out. We just saw it 2 weeks ago. Literally, the circumstances from week 16 to right now are really the same, besides the quarterback of the Rams. So why would we like the Rams now? So we're going to go Seahawks minus 7.5. It could be more than that, depending on if John Wolford plays or not. But we'll go Seahawks minus 7.5. Alrighty. That's the 4 o'clock game on Saturday. So now the 8 o'clock game on Saturday, Bucs in Washington, and Washington is at home, folks. Tom Brady on the road this season, not the greatest, but Tom Brady these last 2 weeks, pretty damn great. All right, we still are kind of up in the air of quarterbacks on Washington. Taylor Heinicke, Alex Smith. If you ask me, Taylor Heinicke should start all day. It really shouldn't even be a question at this point, but, I'm not on the team. Ron Rivera, blah, blah, blah. So Washington's defense is very good. I'm telling y'all, it's top 5 in the league. And Tom Brady kind of has struggled against good defenses this year. The Bucs defense, nothing great. They can stop the run decently. They do kind of get carved up by the pass. Now, the Washington's offense, their passing game is very, very lackluster, especially with Alex Smith. I mean, we saw Washington and the Eagles. Washington wasn't doing anything in the fourth quarter. If Jalen Hurts played that game, we could be talking about Bucs Giants in this game instead of Bucs Washington. So you can't trust Alex Smith. He can't get it done. Taylor Heinicke, can he get it done? We saw 1 quarter of that man. I liked what I saw from the quarter of that man, but still, at the end of the day, it was only us seeing a quarter of that man. So we can't trust it. Tom Brady over Taylor Heinicke. Tom Brady over Alex Smith. Tom Brady. Weapons. All day, Bucs. We don't. Washington barely has one receiver, and it's a rookie. It's Terry McLaurin. Bucs, they got established wide receivers. AB, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, and then if they need extra weapons, if they need somebody else to throw to, they'll throw to Gronk. And then if they need somebody else to throw to, they'll throw to Cameron Brate. They are 6 deep at pass catchers, at least 6 deep. Then you got Ronald Jones. Then you got Leonard Fournette. So we're going to go Bucs here. I do like the Washington's defense. I think Chase Young saying, oh, I want Tom Brady, I want to go, after the game, and still doubling down on the comments throughout the week. I think that's going to come back to bite him in the butt. I'm not going to knock the man for saying those things because, at the end of the day, as competitors, you want to face the best. Absolutely. You want your ring to matter. You want your wins to really count and matter. So I've got no problem with Chase Young coming out and saying, oh, I want to go get Tom Brady. I've got no problem with that. But, you do add fuel to a fire. You add to the narrative. So you better come and back it up. Tom Brady hears this. He knows this. Will he play better? Yes. Now, something that we've kind of been keeping tabs on, when Tom Brady knows that Bill Belichick is watching, so when Bill Belichick's not coaching a game or when the Bucs are on primetime, I think they've struggled in every one of their primetime games because he knows Bill is watching. Bill is 100% going to be watching this game. It's on Saturday. It's on at 8 o'clock. Bill's not coaching this year anymore, so how will Tom Brady know all of that? So at the end of the day, of everything we just said, we're going to call this one, you give Washington 3 for the home field. How much do we think that? I mean, the Washington's not going to put up any points. That's the most important thing. Washington cannot score. They're not going to score. With Alex Smith, they put up like 20 points a game. With Taylor Heinicke, we don't even know because he's played 1 quarter, and I think he led them to 10 points. So nothing great there either. This Bucs team, they're playing great these last 2 weeks. They're blowing out teams. Atlanta kept it close. They broke away in the second half. If Washington keeps it close, I'm sure they can still break it off in the second half. Now the Bucs are still on the road. Bill Belichick is still watching this game, and the Washington's defense is still pretty good. So the offense probably won't run at 100%, but at the end of the day, they'll still put up more points than the Washington can. I mean, the max potential for Washington is probably 25 points. The max potential for the Bucs is like 50 plus. So we're going to call this one Bucs minus We're going to go 6.5. Try to hit it under that 7 hook. It could be higher than that, folks. It really could be all the way up to Bucks minus 9.5. It really, we'll count at that. We're gonna say that Bucks minus 9.5. It's just Washington can't score. It's gonna come down to that. It's gonna be that simple. Washington cannot score the ball. Just kind of like that Lions game that the Bucks played 2 weeks ago. I get that the coaching scenario was all over the place for Detroit, but that was just the Bucks being good every single drive, right off the rip, and Detroit not scoring, going 3 and out, giving more opportunities for Tom Brady. So yeah, Chase Young may force a fumble. He may recover a fumble. He may sack Tom Brady 2 times, but at the grand scheme of things, that's kind of 3 lost drive for the Bucks. The Washington's not even going to score on like 1 drive. They'll score on maybe 2 drives max. So Washington's just not going to score. That's all we're saying about it. Alrighty, now let's move on to Sunday's games. The 1 o'clock on Sunday is Ravens versus the Titans. A little bit of a revenge game from last season when the Ravens were the number 1 seed. We'll bring it up right here. Ravens, the number 1 seed, first round bye. Tennessee, the number 6 seed, barely making the playoffs last season. And Tennessee upsets them 28-12. 28-12, absolutely blew them out. Then we get the infamous quote of Lamar Jackson saying that they didn't game plan for Derrick Henry. I don't know what was going on there. I try to black out that quote from my memory because it makes me want to instantly hate Lamar Jackson and never root for that man again. To know that you would not game plan for a team's number 1 weapon, I don't get it. So I try to block out that quote. Ravens, Titans, they faced this season, I believe week 11. Derrick Henry won it in overtime. They were in Tennessee as well, I believe. I believe they were at home. So, Ravens' running game is unstoppable. This Titans defense has not looked good these last couple of weeks. It's really been very, very concerning. Derrick Henry's been fine really the entire season. He's got 2,000 yards. It's very hard to do that. That's why only like 8 players in NFL history have done it. So Derrick Henry's great. Ryan Tannehill's success depends on what Derrick Henry does. If Derrick Henry doesn't run for 100 yards, Ryan Tannehill's now throwing for 200 yards. It's that simple. Ravens defense is absolutely fantastic. I would probably put this Ravens defense, can we put it in top 5 of the current playoff defenses? We've got Rams defense, Seahawks defense, Washington defense, Ravens defense, Steelers defense. Yeah, so you could possibly fit this Ravens defense in top 5. Ravens, Saints, 5 and 6. You can make your argument for either one of those. So Ravens, their running game is absolutely spectacular. We just set 400 yards rushing last week. I can't even believe I just said that, but that's what happened. 400 yards rushing between Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, and we watched film study on them last week. It's literally one person gets a run, then they bring in fresh legs, sub him out for one play, another running back comes in, gets fresh legs, goes out one play, and they're just cycling and rotating all single game, whereas the Titans is Derrick Henry. Over and 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 over again. So Lamar Jackson, I think he's passed for over 200 yards about 5 or 6 times this season. Not too bad. He can air it out when he needs to. We watched him, a couple of times these last weeks in our film study, and we saw him pass the ball to Dez Bryant and Marquise Brown, for 50, 40, 12 yards. It was all looking good in the red zone, making the smart decisions. And this Ravens game is going to definitely game plan for Derrick Henry. This game, I can guarantee you that they will finally game plan for Derrick Henry. And I think we can get great value here. I really think we can get some good value here with the Ravens because Titans at home, the better seed of what they've done already this season, of what they did last season in the playoffs. I think the Ravens are going to win this game outright. I can't trust this Titans team anymore. They've won too many meetings against the Ravens. It's time for the Ravens to step up and win. Lamar Jackson is better than Ryan Tannehill. The running back committee of the Ravens is unfortunately better than Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's great, don't get me wrong. He's the best single running back in the league, but when we're talking about running back by committee, this Ravens team can run whenever the heck they want, and they'll do it for the entire game and not be sorry about it. So we're going to call this one Titans -2. Titans -2. -3 because they're the home team, and I think Vegas is going to kind of favor the Titans a little bit here at -2, and that's where I think we can get some great value with the Ravens. if Vegas kind of plays along of how I'm going to call this game. We think, I mean, let me put it like this, because I'm kind of doing what I think Vegas is going to do. Let me kind of put it of how I see this game being. I really think it's going to be Ravens -3.5. Honestly, that's what I think the line should be. I think they should be favorites. I think they're going to win the game outright. I think they probably win by 10. I think Lamar Jackson just goes absolutely nuts. In this Titans team, they've just been giving up so many yards, so many points. I mean, they just gave up so many yards to Deshaun Watson on a must-win game last week. On the road, I get it. And Deshaun Watson, as we said, is the league leading passer with, I believe he's at like 4,700, something like that. So, giving up so many points in this Ravens offense is kind of very similar to what Deshaun Watson runs over there, because Deshaun Watson's a great passer, can buy time, can run around. The Texans don't have a good running game, but that's what the Ravens do. They run the ball a lot. So we're going to call this one Ravens -3.5. I like the Titans. I want to root for Derrick Henry. I do really want to see Derrick Henry win a ring, but at the end of the day, this Ravens team as a whole, offensively and defensively, even if I said these two offenses, Ravens and the Titans, were, evenly great on offense. They were both 50-50, but the defense of the Ravens, I have to give it to like 70% Ravens defense and like 30% Titans defense. The Titans defense are giving up too many points for me, folks. Ravens, and I think they kind of win a little big here. So we'll call this one Ravens -3.5. Now we go to Bears and Saints, and oh boy. The 4 o'clock game on Sunday. Bears have to go to New Orleans, folks. We liked the Packers -17 last week, and the Bears were at home. Now the Saints are very comparable to the Packers. Great quarterback, great weapons. They'll throw the ball all day. Alvin Kamara, they've even got a better running back than Aaron Jones. Alvin Kamara, great running back, great catching running back as well. Bears on the road. Mitch Trubisky, a huge game for him. He wants to air it out, and if Mitch Trubisky airs the ball out all game, this could be like Saints -24.5, folks. We're gonna call this one. I mean, folks, it's the Saints. They've been getting screwed. They've been getting, making the league change the rules the last 3 seasons because they're losing in the playoffs. This is Drew Brees' pretty much last run at a chip. They're the number 2 seed. They're at home against the worst. This is the worst. The Bears are the worst team in the playoffs right now. The worst team in the playoff would be Bears, and then the second worst team would be the Colts. I mean, this Bears team is not good. We can't trust Mitch Trubisky in a must-win game. I mean, if Arizona won last week, the Bears would not even be in. They got bailed out by Arizona losing because the Bears lost as well. Mitch Trubisky can't do anything. He's still throwing interceptions in the red zone. This Saints defense is good, folks, when they want to be. When they're not committing penalties, they're very good. And all the Saints need to do is just shut down Allen Robinson. That's what the Packers did. Allen Robinson, I think, only got like 4 receptions for like under 50 yards last week, and they barely put up any points. They could barely score. I think Mitch Trubisky, I think they only scored 1 touchdown. I think everything else was field goals. So nothing great here by the Bears. Great by the Saints. Drew Brees is looking a little bit better than I thought he would. He didn't even need all that rest. He didn't need the last 2 weeks to rest. He was fine to play. Taysom Hill, they've got this kind of great kind of B game as well when they need to just bring Taysom Hill in to either, change up the offensive pace or just score in the red zone. So Saints all day and tomorrow, Saints all day and all month, Saints all day and all year. Folks, I will bet my reputation, I will bet the show on this. If anybody wants to make a bet where you can win the entire show and I'll get nothing in return, that's fine. I'll make that bet. I take the Saints straight up for that bet. Takes by Fans is on the line here. Saints win all day. And then we'll call this one Saints minus. I'm going to be disrespectful here. Minus 15.5 over the 14-point hook, over the 2-possession hook. You need 3 scores. Bears lose by 3 scores. Saints minus 15.5, and that's the low end, folks. That's the low end. It was Packers -5, and we told y'all to take it up to Packers -17 last week. We'll tell you, we'll have it here, baseline Saints minus 15.5, and I'm telling you, I take it all the way up to Saints minus 23.5. Bears have no shot. If Bears win, I'll sell the show for free to somebody on Monday. I may even do it that night. A live auction if the Bears win on on my Twitter of the show if the Bears can win. Alrighty, and then the last game, the 8 o'clock game on Sunday. Browns, Steelers. I mean, rematch of just what happened last week, and the Steelers kept it close, folks. They lost by 2 points. They were on, they were at the 2-point conversion. They already scored the touchdown. They just needed to convert the 2-point conversion for a tied 24-24 game with, I think, under maybe a minute left in the game. At least, definitely under 2 minutes, possibly under a minute. Browns, what do we like about them? We love their running back by committee, and we love their head coach. Who's not coaching this week? Their head coach. So, just based off of that, the Steelers are going to win this game, unfortunately, for the Browns, and unfortunately for Browns fans. Waiting all this year to get to the playoffs, and then everything goes wrong in the playoffs. The COVID situation, not having Kevin Stefanski calling the plays and being there, Baker Mayfield could get out of whack. He can go off the rails a little bit. Big Ben, a little bit healthy, a little week off, get good to go. And the wide receivers here for the Steelers, I mean, they're still warmed up. They're good to go still. They didn't take the week off. They still played. Mason Rudolph gave them decent yards. I think Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson all had like 80-plus yards. So they're still catching balls. That was one of the big knocks that we had on the Steelers for, probably a 3-4 week stretch. Was that the wide receivers were dropping all the passes all the time, and it was bad, and it did not look good, and they were losing games because of it. They were undefeated. They weren't because of the drop passes. Now they're back into rhythm in the second half of the Week 16 game. They carried over to Week 17. And they lost by 2, and they were catching everything. So you love to see that. The running game is still non-existent. They didn't get that established last week, which they probably should have tried maybe a little bit harder on doing that. So the Steelers cannot still run the ball, but at the end of the day, it's going to be Big Ben, a trusted Super Bowl winning quarterback. Mike Tomlin, a Super Bowl winning coach. How you call this game? It's in Pittsburgh. Baker Mayfield is still making critical turnover mistakes, kind of like Phillip Rivers can't be trusted. Fumbling the ball, biggest thing you cannot do as a quarterback because he's trying to do too much with his legs. Even on, short QB sneaks, he's fumbling the ball. Now, the Steelers, also in the last week's game, they didn't start TJ Watt, and they didn't start their other defensive end. So Baker Mayfield, he may be forgetting the pressure that the Steelers can play with. He may be like, I just played this team last week. They weren't pressuring me that much. Oh, hang on. They didn't have TJ Watt. And they didn't have, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Cameron Hayward. I don't think that's right, but I'm going out on a limb there. Steelers. Browns. What are we liking in this game? We can't trust Baker Mayfield, unfortunately, especially if Kevin Stefanski was going to be on the sideline calling plays, then I would give the Browns a little bit more of an edge here, but he's not, and I'm telling y'all, that's the real reason why the Browns are having success. Just look at last season to this season, a huge turnaround. Freddie Kitchens, head coach, they really had all the same talent, offensively at least, and really defensively too, but, Freddie Kitchens won 6 games. Kevin Stefanski comes in year 1, wins 11 games, gets him to the playoffs. I mean, it's really, it is that simple, unfortunately. So, no Kevin Stefanski. I don't like the Browns now. Defense is, well rested for the Steelers. They kind of got the blueprint of Week 17. That was a must-win game for the Browns, and not a non-factor win for the Steelers. That's why they rested all the players. So, Mike Tomlin has a little bit of the blueprint that the Browns are probably going to play around with because they had to kind of show not everything that they have, but a lot of things that they had that they probably didn't want to show because they wanted to go out and win the game, and it was competitive all the way throughout. So the Browns were trying to be competitive all the way throughout. So now Mike Tomlin's got a full week to dissect that film. The Browns were also at home in that game. Another factor of the Browns kind of just laying it all on the line, and Mike Tomlin's just watching. All right, they do this. They like to do this. All right, that, we'll cancel that out. No on that. And now Baker Mayfield has to go and try and sling the ball around and try and win the game. All right, so we're going to call this one, still rocking with the Steelers here. We're going to call this one Steelers minus 4.5. 3 points for the home field, and then 1.5 points because Kevin Stefanski is not on the sideline in all the COVID outbreak. Alrighty, now that we've got all the lines predicted, let's go in and see how close we were, where we were wrong, where we were right. Are we going to be able to beat Vegas? Are we going to be able to find any great value here today? So here we go. Let's get these lines updated up to the minute. There they are. Freshest lines out there, folks. These lines are fresh, so come and get them while they're hot. All right, let's see if we like anything great right off the rip. Alrighty, here we go. Back to the 1 o'clock game on Saturday. Colts, Bills. We predicted this game at Bills minus 9.5. Whoa, whoa, I love it. Best bet of the week. Where it is. Bang, 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 bang. Best bet of the week. Bills minus 6.5. Swallow it. Swallow it right now. Get it while you can. Get it while it's hot. This is easy. This is the easiest bet. This is like Packers minus 5 against the Bears last week. Bills minus 6.5. Phillip Rivers, they can't even score in the second half. They can't even score. Bills didn't even need to have Josh Allen in the second half last week. He put up 28 points in the second quarter alone. Come on. Bills minus 6. This is easy. You want to make some real cash right now. You want to make some real quick cash. I'll tell you how to do it. Game lines, alternative game lines. What can we buy this bad boy up to, folks? Bills minus all the way. Bills minus 18. There it is. Bills minus 18 plus 420. Bet whatever you want on that because I can guarantee you the Colts will not put up more than 10 points. That's their ceiling here. All right, let's say this. The Colts' max ceiling in this game is 14 points. That's it. That is it. That is all. Bills. We saw what they did against that Dolphins defense last week, folks. A must-win game for the Dolphins in that Dolphins defense. Must-win game for the Colts, and they let the tanking Jags who rested all of their starters, all of their weapons, and they only won by 6. Really only won by 6. I know that they won by double digits, 14 points, because they got Jonathan Taylor to score a touchdown with 4 minutes left, and then they went for a 2-point conversion and got it. This is the Jags, folks. The Colts struggled against the Jags. That's all you need to know. The Colts were at home. They struggled against the Jags. Must-win game for the Colts. What more do we need? Bills minus 6.5 is easy money. Bills minus 18.5 is a lot of easy money if you want it. Holy moly. There it is. Best bet of the week, folks. Bills minus 6.5. I don't need to see anything else. We can quit the show right now. Stop the show right now. Bet your life savings on Bills minus 6.5. I can retire. Y'all can retire. Y'all can stop listening to me every day because I'll be out in the beach somewhere just, watching Josh Allen highlights for the rest of my life because he made me a millionaire. He's making me a millionaire here this week at Bills minus 6.5. Alrighty, here we go. Second, the 4 o'clock game on Saturday. Rams, Seahawks. We predicted this game at Seahawks minus 7.5. Seahawks minus 3, folks. We're getting great value here. I cannot believe what Vegas is doing this week, folks. They're just treating all teams the same because it's the playoffs, and that's not how it's going to work this season, folks. It's not. Rams minus or Seahawks minus 3. Once again, best bet, folks. We've got multiple best bets of the week. Bills minus 6.5. Steelers minus or Seahawks minus 3. It does not get any easier than this. I mean, let's just kind of dissect this number real quick. The Rams are going to start Jared Goff this week. It's 100% clear here. There's no reason why the Seahawks are minus 3 at home. That means that on a neutral field, Rams and Seahawks are the same. So Jared Goff must be playing this week. John Wolford is not. Sean McVay's like, oh, I'm waiting till Saturday to kind of reveal who's starting. No, folks, it's right here. Vegas knows before anybody else. That's why they make money, and that's why the house always wins, correct? That's why you always lose on your bets, because Vegas wins. Vegas knows. So Vegas knows Jared Goff's playing for the Rams, so that's something that we can that's a narrative we can take right off the table. John Wolford will not play this game. Even if he does, it doesn't matter. Even if Jared Goff plays, it doesn't matter. Seahawks minus 3. We just saw this game 2 weeks ago. Now we're seeing it again this week. Has anything changed in the last 2 weeks? Maybe the Seahawks offense got a little bit better. A little bit. Can't trust the Rams offense. The defense, it's decent. It's a good defense. So is the Seahawks defense. Seahawks at home, pretty much unstoppable. Seahawks at home in the playoffs, once again, almost unstoppable. So love the Seahawks here. This is just easy money, folks. Seahawks minus 3. What can we buy this one up to? What do we feel comfortable with buying this one up to? Probably not too much because we can't 100% trust the Seahawks offense 100%, but let's just see what we can buy this one up to. Oh yes, this is perfect. This is what I was gonna say. Yes, minus 13.5, so you get under the 2 touchdown hook. We'll take this. This is easy money there. Seahawks minus 13.5, and it's plus 400. Holy cow. That's good value there. Plus 400, so you bet 500. I think you win 2,500, I believe. See if the math is right there. 500, you win 2,500. Perfect, right there. I mean, folks, I can't believe it, folks. This is easy money. This is easy. I can't believe Vegas is taking the low routes here. I really thought Vegas would have a field day on these picks, on these spreads. Maybe they were when they initially opened, and then everybody's betting the points, and that's why it's come down. I doubt that's it, because I would never take Colts. Like if our prediction was right of Bills minus 9.5, I would never take Colts plus 9.5. That's like taking Bears plus 5 last week. That was the worst bet I've ever seen, and I try to steer y'all away from that. All right, let's keep it going here. Seahawks minus 3, easy money. Alrighty, let's see. This is really going to tell us how Vegas is thinking here. Bucks, Washington. We predicted this game at Bucks minus 9.5. All right, there we go. Finally, we're right. Bucks minus 9. That's what the spread is. We predicted it at minus 9.5, so we're right on par. It's just Washington's not scoring. They can't score the ball. Even if Alex Smith still plays, they won't score. If Taylor Heineke, they may score a little bit more, but they're still their scoring ceiling with Alex Smith is like 25, and that's a high ceiling. I really should go like 22, 21 points, but I'll say 25. Taylor Heineke, I'll give him the 25-point ceiling as well, just because we saw one quarter of the man. So Tampa Bay is going to have no trouble here. They may struggle for a quarter. They may struggle for 2 series. They could even really struggle for 2 straight quarters and get it going in the second half, kind of like what we've seen the Bucks kind of do sometimes this season, especially last week against the Falcons. They really didn't get going until the second half. But, even if that's the case, Washington is probably going to be up by like 3 or 4. Maybe 7 at the highest. If that happens, if the Bucks offense start to flounder, the Washington football team will have like a 7-point lead going into halftime, and then it's Tom Brady's turn, to not care and be good, and then just put up like 4 straight touchdowns and turning a 7-point deficit into a 21-point win. That could definitely happen if they're not good right from the rip, which they probably will be. So I still like the Bucks. Swallow the 9. I can't trust the 9.5, the 9 points with Washington. They're not going to put up any points. Their offense is so atrocious, folks. It's not good at all. It's really not good. Even if they had a good quarterback, they've got no real weapons. Antonio Gibson's always, a little rocky, a little banged up. Terry McLaurin's good, but is one receiver going to be able to do it? One receiver with a quarterback that really can't throw 100% accurate on every single ball. He's a dink and dunker. Alex Smith is a dink and dunker. He's not an aired outer, and Tom Brady is an aired outer. So Bucks minus 9, swallow it, but we're fine with that. Alrighty, now we go Ravens-Titans, the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. We predicted this game at Ravens minus 3.5. Ravens minus 3.5. It's Ravens minus 3.5. All right. So no value here. We're right, which is great, but we get no value. I really wished it was Titans minus 2, which I thought Vegas was going to do, but they didn't do that. So I respect Vegas for not doing that and making it the right call. Ravens minus 3.5. I like the Ravens here. I think they went outright. Now we're talking about spreads and how well the Titans play. And, we just saw the Titans beat the Ravens this season, which is definitely telling. But I think that was kind of on the stretch, at the beginning of the stretch or right at the tail end of the stretch of when the Ravens all got COVID and all that. So a huge mix-up there. I think that's when the Titans' win came against the Ravens. So the Ravens are the better offense. They're more explosive, and the Ravens have a better defense. This Titans' defense has not been able to stop anybody. Let's see what they've been doing. The last 3 games, I think they've given up like 30 points. Let's quickly run through their numbers right quick. So Week 17, Titans, they gave up 38 points against the Texans. 38 points against the Texans. Holy cow. Imagine what the Ravens could do. All right, Week 16, the Titans gave up 40 points. 40 points to the Green Bay Packers. Oh, boy. Imagine what the Ravens could do on that. Week 15, the Titans, they gave up 25 points to the Lions. 25 points to the Lions, folks. I get it that, in those last 2 games, Week 17 and Week 16 games, they were on the road for that. I get that. So the Titans should probably play a little bit better here at home. But, at the end of the day, this is a revenge game for the Ravens. They're game planning for Derrick Henry. They got to try and stop the man, and if they do, they win the game because Tannehill does not have success without Derrick Henry. Now, Lamar Jackson, he has no contingency. He's not only good when X happens, like Ryan Tannehill, and I'm not knocking Ryan Tannehill. I mean, there's a ton of above-average game manager quarterbacks in this league. Like the Ravens here, straight up, -3.5. Now you're over the 3-point hook. Should be a closer game. It's probably going to be a closer game. I don't think the Ravens blow them out. I think they can win by 10. I don't see them winning by any really more than 10. But this Titans team, they've shown that they can kind of implode. The Ravens haven't really imploded besides those weeks when players had COVID and they weren't at 100%. So Ravens here, love them all day. 3.5. We'll come back at you tomorrow with our official pick. Alrighty, Bears Saints. We predicted this game at Saints -15.5, and we get great value here. Saints -10. Lock this up, folks. Lock it up. Lock it up. Saints -10. Bears got absolutely crushed last week against the Packers. Now, it was a little close in the second half because the Packers stopped scoring the ball, but the Bears never did anything with that. They never scored when the Packers weren't scoring as well, so they just all stopped scoring, and then the Packers started to score again, and the Bears were like, what's scoring? I don't know how to do that because Mitch Trubisky's my quarterback. Saints at home, Saints at home, Saints at home, Bears on the road, Mitch Trubisky on the road. That's really the only thing we need to say. Saints got a good defense, better defense than the Bears. Saints have a better offense than the Bears. Saints have a better coach than the Bears. Saints have better everything than the Bears do. I cannot point out one thing that the Bears do better than the Saints do. Nothing. Saints -10. This is fine. Swallow it. It's not that many points, folks. Touchdown, field goal. They win by 14 at least. Let's see what we can buy this one up to. We may be able to get our 23.5 bet. Let's see if we can do that. Saints -23.5. Saints -22.5. Plus 400. I mean, not great value there. 22.5, so now you're talking four possessions, which is nothing you should really ever be betting a lot of money on. But the Bears aren't going to do anything offensively. That's what you need to know. All right, and then the last game here, the 8 o'clock game on Sunday, Steelers, Browns. We predicted this game at Steelers -4.5. Wow, it's a little bit larger than I thought it would be, but I understand it. Steelers -6. Now, this is where we have to make a decision. Do we take the 6 with the Browns or do we -6 with the Steelers? I think this is going to be a close game. Probably comes down to the wire. Last possession. But if the Steelers can figure it out, if the Steelers offense is working like it has worked this season, not like the last 6 weeks, maybe like more of the first 5-6 weeks, then the Steelers should be fine. I'm telling you, the biggest thing is Kevin Stefanski not being on the sideline. It's just Baker Mayfield really needs to be reined in. He needs to be limited throwing the ball. He needs to not be asked too much of him because he flounders a little bit. And I'm not knocking the man. He's got 11 wins, so let's give the man credit for that and turning around from last season to this season. But, football, unlike basketball, it's a team game. Basketball, you can have one great player and win a ring. Football, you can have one great player, a la Deshaun Watson, and have a number 3 pick overall, in the draft. So, Baker Mayfield, he's good, but he's not good enough to kind of single-handedly lead a team to a Super Bowl. Kevin Stefanski is a huge upgrade, a huge reason why the Browns are good this season, and he's not coaching. He's not coaching. He's got COVID. Can't be on the sideline. Now, I don't know if they're going to be calling him. I don't know if he's going to be on speakerphone. I would assume he would. I don't know if that's breaking the rules or not. It possibly could. I don't know the rules that deep. I don't know about that. But if Kevin Stefanski is not calling plays, if he's not having any input on plays, this Browns team is not going to be as good as they have been this season. So this spread is a little bit, it's kind of exactly where it needs to be to make people kind of choose a side. Whereas, the Bills, that's easy. Right there, Bills -6.5, Seahawks -3. Once again, that's real easy. Take that. So Steelers, Browns. The 6. That's a tough hook, folks. That is a tough hook. I think the game is close. The Steelers, they've struggled scoring. Their defense is going to be fine. The Browns, they're not going to have their play caller. Their defense should be fine. Their running game should be fine for the Browns, but it's going to come down to Baker Mayfield. If he's throwing it more than 30 times, I'll take the Steelers -6. If he's going to hold it to like under 25 passes, it's probably going to be a close game, and I'll take the Browns +6 at that point. Alrighty. That is going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Eastern, for our official picks. We just kind of talked it all through. Let's sleep on these lines. Let's kind of get a clear picture. Let's run the numbers one more time in my head and my algorithm that I use, and we'll come at you tomorrow with our picks. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We're back tomorrow, like always, noon Eastern, twitch.tv/takesbyfans. Alrighty, folks, we're out.